What is up, everybody? Good evening. Hello, happy Monday. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this live stream. I want to go ahead and just shout out all of these comments. Brittany B said, "Oh wow, Rivah, LOL, good one." And yes, you should. Okay, so we already have somebody who's answering the title and believes yes, you should. Goldie coming through with the blessing. Shout out to you, Goldie. Kendra Scott. Thank you for always being on point. Okay, Kendra, with the like, share, comment, and subscribe, and as well as the super sticker. Thank you so much for showing love. And of course, on you guys' way in, make sure you do hit that like button, right before you get in the stream. And we're gonna go ahead and just jump right into this conversation. I see Got Tech in the chat saying, "Hey Rivah, hey, how are you? How is everybody's Monday going?" Okay, how I know there was like the weekend, and sometimes I know we always feel like the weekend is not long enough, right? We feel like we could use an extra day or two or three, right? The work week should be way less than the weekend. Kashan, hello Kashan. Thank you so much for joining. I'm gonna drop the link very, very soon. I just want to set the tone for the conversation, and then we're gonna go ahead and jump right in it. I know that I am the 5-hour queen, the 5-hour stream queen. But today, I don't know if we're gonna be going that long. Okay. Um, Kendra says, "LOL, I'm here. That commercial messed up whatever you just said. I caught the last little part of that sentence." Oh, okay. Well, we here. Okay, I'm just checking on everybody, seeing how everybody's Monday was. I know that, of course, after the weekend, sometimes Monday is the hardest to get going. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes, like, Monday you start off really strong because you're like, "Oh yes, I'm ready for the week," and then by Tuesday, Wednesday, you're out of there. Sometimes it's the complete opposite. Sometimes Mondays you're like, no. I wish this was Sunday part two. Yeah, I see God Tech saying, hey Ron Davis, how you doing? I see God Tech is saying, yeah, Monday sucks. I love Fridays. I understand, right? Because you have relaxation ahead of you. Mondays, you have to, hold on tight for the next 5 days. Sometimes 6 days. Some people work on Saturdays before you get any, taste of freedom. But anyway, I want to go ahead and jump right into this conversation. Again, don't forget to like the stream on the way in. If you're not subscribed to this channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well. So let me start off. All right. Let me give a little backstory, okay, as to where this conversation came from. If you are not aware of who the two young ladies are on the thumbnail of this video, I'm going to enlighten you on the entire situation. Okay. So a situation happened a couple of days ago where there is a rapper by the name of G Herbo, right? So he has children with a woman that's named Ari, children with that a woman that's named I believe her name is Taina. Okay. For those who don't know. So G Herbo's ex came on and was basically kind of like dragging the new baby mother, okay? And mind you, Taina, who is the new baby mother, not only has a child with him, but is also pregnant with another child for him. Okay. So it's kind of like the ex. There was a lot of pictures. There was one point in social media where you could see that the ex was like inviting the new girl, the new baby mama, the new woman that this man is in a relationship with, to like events. They were seeing picture together, kind of like being cool with each other. And you know for me, I think that it's very, very important, okay, that if you have a child with someone, if you have a child with if you both, if somebody said it sound like drama already. Yes. Okay, you know what, before I get into it, let me say this. And I had this conversation about this topic earlier, and I have to say, one of the key things is that when young people have children, this is one of the issues. It doesn't happen all the time, but more times than not, the lack of maturity does show up in situations based off of just a lack of life experiences, right? Just trying things out, whatever makes you feel good, not necessarily thinking about the benefit of the child or children involved, not thinking about the repercussions of what can happen afterwards. it's just based off of solely how you feel, because as a young person that's kind of still growing, again, sometimes people are more mature than others, but more times than not, as a young person still growing, you kind of get into this riff of whatever's going to make yourself feel good, because at that age, that's what you're supposed to do, right? At that age, that's how you're kind of like supposed to feel. You're supposed to be concerned about what it is that you want to do, what path you're going on, what venture you're going to be set off on, whatever it is. Okay. So that's why we always talk about babies having babies. Okay. Because sometimes even grown people, and when I say grown, I mean of age, can't get it together. So how can we imagine how people who are younger are supposed to get it together? Anyways, okay. So at one point they were cool. And then she comes on social media. When I say she, I mean the ex of this person. So the first baby mama comes on social media, kind of like attacking the new baby mama's character, calling her names, suggesting that she's doing things that are kind of left up in the air, could be, could not be. There was a video of this an audio release of the son talking, and just to be honest, it seemed very coached. It seemed as though he was in on conversations that probably he shouldn't have been in on. Probably things were said to him, so he knew how to maneuver, because the child is like a 4-year-old that the audio was released from. It sounded like it was coming from a space of, maybe somebody said, if somebody say anything to you, you tell them they can't tell you anything, kind of like that kind of behavior. But to me, I don't even want to get into the dialogue about the child and the this and that. I want to get into, at one point, okay, like I told you guys, these two women were hanging out, okay, trying to be cool with each other. And I believe this was before she had her own child. Okay. So before the new baby mom had her own child, everything was cool with the old baby mom. The son would go to his father's house where the new girlfriend lives. Everything was cool. Everything was fine. They were very, very easy, easy to kind of hang out, talk to each other, whatever it is. And for me, I think that especially when you have a young child and you want to make sure that the relationship with that child and that child's father is amicable, for me, I think the sensible thing to do is to have a peaceful rhetoric with the woman who is going to be at that home. Why? Because we know that as women, right? We are the ones who are more nurturing, more and not all the time. Not all the time. You have some dads that, the girl can be there and she doesn't need to be there at all. Okay, cuz he got it. But especially when a child is very, very young, like, kind of baby like, maybe like 1, 2, or 3, or whatever the age was, I think it is important that when entering into a relationship with a man that has a child, that you are open to the possibility of him possibly maybe at some point needing your assistance. And even if he does not ask you for your assistance, need your assistance, require it, you are there with open arms to assist in any way that you can in regards to the situation. Okay. So that's from one side. And I think that whenever you end a relationship with somebody, okay, and you have a child, you have to keep in mind that there's possibilities that they are going to venture off and create new relationships. That's what life is. Okay. It's very possible that this person is going to end up in a new relationship. It's very possible that this person is going to end up, moving on with their life, living with somebody else. Okay. And you have to be sure that you're mentally able to understand that it's about the child and it's not about you. It's about the child having a relationship with their father. It's not about you or your feelings. Okay. So moving forward, okay. Again, the two of these young ladies at one point were on speaking terms. At one point were cool. At one point were fine with each other. At one point were seen again pictured. I think it was the child's birthday. They were hanging out together. It seemed like it was like a tumultuous relationship at first, and then it kind of changed. But for me personally, I think I saw a comment from Brittany B at first. Let me grab that comment so you guys can see, because she answered the question before we even started the stream, and was saying she thinks that women that share a child's father, baby daddy, should be friends. Okay, so she started off saying yes. I can't find the comment right. I don't know why it's not moving, but she said yes. I absolutely think that we should be friends, right? If there's two women involved, they should be friends. And I want to shout out this super chat. Thank you so much, Yardley. It says you low key taking shots with that title, LMAO. I'm really not. I wanna get into the conversation, like the deeper conversation about this, because at one point they came on and they were kind of like appearing like they were friends, and now one is dragging the other in the media, trying to paint her to be a completely different person than she appears to be, and all these kind of things. So it was really not shots, it's really having a deeper conversation, because a lot of people go through these things, right? A lot of people go through this exact situation, and I think that there's a misconstrued way of thinking as to how people should maneuver through these situations when you do have or share a baby daddy. Okay. And I don't know any other way to say it, but there's ways to maneuver. I think that the display of, both women coming together, trying to be cool with each other, and then, not soon after, a couple years later, whatever, after she has her own children, the second baby mother, getting dragged through the media. I think it's a public display as to why it is not possible for two women, okay, who both encountered the same man, to be friends. In my opinion, it's not possible for those two women who have encountered the same man, and especially two women who have a child by the same man, should be or could be friends. People use this term friend very loosely. A friend is somebody that you can confide in. A friend is somebody that will console you. A friend is somebody that more than likely has your best interest at heart. Okay? That's a friend. A friend is somebody that if you're going through a tough time, you can call them. That's a friend. Okay? Somebody that you share a child's father with, a baby daddy with. It's not possible, in my opinion, for you guys to be friends. Because from this example that you guys have seen with these two women, what happens is they're never going to be around you trying to be cool with you. They're never going to be around you to have your best interest at heart. You know what they're going to be around you to do? Judge you. You know what they're going to be around you to do? Take mental notes. So that if anything arises later on, they have a lot of things in their pocket that they can bring out and use to weaponize against you. That's what they're going to do. But to be a genuine friend, no. I think not. Now, again, I think that it is important when two people encounter each other, when two people, to be mature is to say, yes, this is his previous children's mother. I have respect for her because of who she is, but also I am in a relationship with this man, and I want to go ahead and make sure it's a safe space, whether it's communication, whether it's, that person being the one to communicate and assist in whatever it is that anybody needs. Again, having the best interest of the children at heart, fine. Wanting to keep the children together because they are siblings, fine. But you can't negate the person who is the actual reason why these kids are siblings, which is the father. Okay? So if these kids are connected by a father, the person who should be, the one conjuring up the situation and keeping the family together and keeping the kids together is directly through the father. So that means that sometimes you're going to have to drop these kids at her house where she lives with him to keep them together. That's what that means. It does not mean that you have to build your own relationship with this person that you don't know, that you would not know if it were not for, again, this man. If this man did not have previous children or children after you, there would be no way that you two human beings would know each other, period. And I love this comment from Kendrell. It says, it's a perfect example of keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Correct. Because what this young lady displayed is, yeah, we were cool, but the minute that I feel some type of way, the minute that my emotions get out of whack, the minute that my feelings get hurt, or maybe, it's a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that she's the first baby mother just got out of a relationship, so she just out there. Okay, probably annoyed. I don't know what's going on with her. Okay, I'm not even gonna make any assumptions, but I'm just saying she got some time on her hands, and as soon as she does, boom, we got to talk about the old baby mom, because that's something, if I drag this person down, it's going to make me feel better about myself and my situation. Let's be honest. Okay. So when you're hanging out and you think, oh yeah, this is a good situation. Oh yeah, we're cool. I love her. She loves me. We're such good friends. No, you're not. The only time that people can yes, so I love this comment. Somebody said, yeah, they just have to be cordial. Right, cordial. Cordial makes sense. Cordial makes sense. Having conversation makes sense. Having no hatred for each other makes sense. Friends is a different word. Because for me, a friend is not somebody that could be my enemy. Let's just keep it 100. Okay? And if you're dragging somebody in the media, you're displaying what you're capable of. You're displaying the fact that, you know, at any given moment, it's up and it's stuck, for lack of better words. At any given moment. So how can I then try to turn to you and lean on you and rely on you and act like you could possibly be my friend? Which is what these young ladies displayed. I believe that the person who is the actual girlfriend in this situation, just from what I saw in the media, I have no idea, I don't know these people, right? But from what I saw, I believe that she was trying to um you know create a safe space for the first baby mother, just for the sake of peace. I think it was on good faith. However, you can't have good faith if you and this other person have both shared an ex, especially if you don't know the ins and out of a situation. We can see it all the time, even if we only look in movies, right? Even if we've only saw movies, we can see where, maybe sometimes it'll be like, oh, well, what about us? Or, more times than not, especially if the situation ended in a way that wasn't the best, in regards to the woman, right? It can be kind of like, oh, and even if it was all the woman's decision, sometimes, when you see the kids with the father and the meetups and the this, and it's like, oh, well, you don't ever think about this, or you don't ever think about us, or you don't ever think about, is that person going to be thinking about her friend, i.e. the girlfriend, i.e. the wife in that situation? No. You know what she's going to be thinking about? Trying to keep her family together or get her family back together. So how can she have your best interest at heart? I feel like we really use this term friendship extremely loosely. Extremely loosely. And I want to go a different route as well. And I'm dropping the link for whoever does want to come up. I know that I saw Kashawn was saying something earlier, so I definitely want to give him this space to speak on this as well. But I also want to go in a different route as well. You know, dragging the other baby mom on social media, again, kids having kids, and I don't mean just kids as in age, I mean kids as in maturity. Because if this is the mother of your children's siblings, should there be discourse? No. Should you be attacking this person's character? No, because you know why? At some point, that person is going to be around your child and you are not going to be there. And you don't want to leave the treatment of this child upon the bearings of you as a person. Based off of you dragging her in the media, you talking crap about her, you saying this, you saying that. You don't want to leave that on to, up in thin air. Well, I don't know if she's going to treat my child good or bad. You don't want that space. Especially when you have children, right? You don't want that. So dragging, no. Disrespecting, no. Arguing with, no. Tussling with, no. But friendship, no. Might be contrary to a lot of popular belief. Might seem a little controversial. Might seem like, oh, well, Rivah, what are you talking about? I'm just keeping it real with you guys. I'm just keeping it 100 with you guys, because there's no way. I'm a woman. I know. How can you be quote unquote a friend of somebody, again, that you shared someone else with? Not possible. Not possible. Hello, Kashawn. Kashawn, I'm so happy that you came in earlier, because every time for like the past couple of streams, always been like everyone goes first and Kashawn just sits there in silence. I'm so glad
Yeah.
I saw you comment. I'm like, oh yes, finally he will have the space to speak on his own.
Hey, Rivah, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Happy Monday.
Happy Monday to you too. I'm
Thank you.
doing pretty good. Yeah, I saw this situation a few days ago,
Oh, you
and
saw it. Oh, perfect. Mm-hmm.
you posed the right question. Should they be friends? Absolutely not. There's no way they can be friends because of the man that's in between them.
Mm.
You got the ex who has her problems, and then you got the current who may have her own feelings about the situation. And the situation shouldn't be about them at all. It should be about the child or the
Right.
children in the mix, because they both have children. Children with this man, that means they're siblings. The children are siblings, and they ought to be able to know their siblings, right?
Right.
So it should be about the children, and it should be a cordial nature between the two mothers. They don't have to be friends. They don't have to like each other, but it should be cordial so that their children can be siblings. They can get along together as siblings and not always be in the midst of animosity.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with that. And I like that you said with the comment that you said about, I think you said something about like friendship or people get it twisted. What did you say in that comment?
I know. I said I think that people fail to realize that once they have a child, that every decision that they make affects the child.
Correct.
Good decision, bad decision, whether they want to go out, whether they want to do this or that. Every decision they have to make from there on out is going to affect that child, no
I
matter what.
agree with that. I agree with that. And I wholeheartedly agree with what you're saying about, the siblings need to have a relationship. It's so vital. And again, I think the bigger conversation is babies having babies, right? Young people having babies, because there's a big um there's a big responsibility, number 1, but there's a big space of selflessness that's important. And we already know when kids are more younger, they're more selfish. You teach them not to be selfish, right? You teach them to come out of their selfish ways. You always talk about, like, teenagers, and when people go to that teenage phase and they become very selfish and very self-centered, you grow them out of that stage. But when you're having a children in that stage,
Mhm.
it's hard for you to differentiate, you being selfish and your needs and your feelings and your thought processes and what you think sounds good, feels good, as to what's going to be better for a small child who did not have any say in this entire situation. They didn't know what they were coming into. They don't
Nope.
know who their mom is. They don't know who their dad is. They don't know anything. They're just an innocent bystander,
Hmm.
right? That has to go on the roller coaster that you're putting them on.
Exactly.
So I 100% agree with you.
How are you supposed to teach a child when you are still a child learning yourself?
Right.
that
Right.
is, ooh, that is a good question right there. How do you do that?
How? Because if you're still learning and you're still growing, and I've heard people say like, "Oh, I learned with my kids and I grew with my kids," and that fine, fine.
Mhm.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. But at the end of the day, there's going to still be some childhood trauma for that child when they grow up
Mhm.
that they're gonna have to deal with, because it doesn't matter if you knew or did not know. It's a fact of what they're going to have to experience based off of
Absolutely.
situations. And again, when I say maturity, immaturity, when I say young, when I say babies, I don't necessarily just mean the age, the number.
No, I know
I
exactly what
mean the mindset, because we have some people who have babies at 30 and you're like, girl, no.
definitively, most people aren't grown until they're 35. If we want to, if we want to get serious about it, because when you're in your 20s, you still doing childish things. You're still acting like a child. You don't, you're getting a better understanding of adulthood, but you're still in a child state.
Exactly. Snuggle668 said, should the father just trying to bring both the ladies together and create a polygamous union? Let me tell you something.
Uh,
I think that good Sean. I think that I think they do try. I'm not gonna lie, I think they do try, because I think it becomes overwhelming with the people on both sides, right? So they have he has a new relationship. He
hmm
had an old relationship. They're both the mother of his children. And it's like you try to create peace, but you understand that with peace comes both people's emotions and feelings involved. And I want you and I want you too. So, in a sense, I don't think it's necessarily a union. Okay,
No,
and I don't think it's a peaceful one, but I think that's oftentimes what happens, and I think that's why there's a lot of drama between baby mama, baby daddy, other baby mama, because people know. Again, we've seen it in movies, we've seen it around us. Somebody go pick up the kids from the baby mama in there, come to the door, well
hmm
equipped, okay,
hmm
well ready, and you're like, so it becomes a sticky situation on both sides. So what you're saying, the question that's posed, I think that's more times than not what occurs. But again, do I think it's going to be something that's peaceful? Do I definitely think it's going to be a united front? Absolutely not. What do you think about that comment, Kashan?
Well, I think, like you said, I think that does happen often. But the thing is, the same thing that happens, whether they try it or not, happens. The
Right.
emotions, the jealousy. Oh, you spending too much time with her. You ain't spending enough time with me.
Right.
Oh, you doing this for her, but you ain't doing this for me. What about me? I had your first child. You know,
Yeah, you said
all
it
the things,
perfectly.
no matter
Perfectly.
how, no matter how they try to wrap it up, no matter how they try to pull it together, all those same things take place. You
Yeah,
got two different personalities clashing, not connecting, clashing.
I
So
agree.
that makes
I
it hard.
and I think when I see people who are very close, like when the person is in a relationship with a man and the other person is like maybe an ex baby mom or whatever the case is, like this exact situation that we're talking about right now, right? Where you see Taina's with him and she's pregnant, she's having another baby for him, she already has a child. Then the first baby mom only has one child. It becomes like an ego trip,
Hmm.
right? Like, well, you may have two babies for him, but I had the first one. You know what I mean? Like, oh,
Hmm.
well, you may have, and then now again, like now that she's not in a relationship, the first one, now it's like, oh, well, I don't want my child going over there, because you kind of want a foothold in that house. You want a foothold in that space. You want to ruffle some feathers because you feel like you're the one that's left out.
Yeah, you want to have some control somewhere.
Right. So that's why I said it brings me back to when there was a lot of pictures on social media of them hanging out together, the child's, birthday party. You know what I'm saying? And like there was a very peaceful it seemed like a very peaceful front. And I was like, wow, they're being super mature. But that was before she had her first child. So it was a lot easier to accept her because, oh, well, I'm the baby mom. You're just the girlfriend. You get I'm going with this?
I see
Okay.
exactly where you're going.
Now that you're the baby mom too. Oh no. Now what can I do to show my rank? Now I'm going to go on social media, which is what she did, and say something like, "Oh, well, I think she pushed him down one time, about the child."
Hmm.
Well, that's what he said, and she's not as nice as she seems to be. And then it was her birthday, and she's like, "I already know what birthday outfit I'm gonna wear." It's like, girl, we know what you're doing. We know you. All who are aware, all who are of age, are very aware of what it is that you are trying to do or doing.
Absolutely.
It's so true.
It,
I want to
this
read this comment. Go ahead.
this time we live in with technology, with the age of social media.
Right. Right.
I think the first thing people have to realize about social media is just because everybody's posting things on there looking happy,
Mhm.
doesn't necessarily mean they happy. Don't necessarily mean they getting along. Just because
Sure
they
don't.
look like they're getting along in this picture. But it
Facts.
sounds like to me that stuff had been brewing to begin with, because she went from being the glorified babysitter to baby mama number two.
Mhm. And that's what she called her, the babysitter.
Hmm.
She called her the babysitter. She's like, "It's not my fault you over there being a babysitter," And I'm like, "Babysitter? She has her own child." And okay, just to touch on this topic just a little bit, because I didn't want to go too deep into it, but since you know about it, now I want to talk about it. But what hurt my feelings a little bit was when, Taina was showing the relationship that she actually had with that child.
Hmm.
And it was undeniable. I mean,
Yeah.
you can hear whatever you say, and then she was like, "Oh, you better take the post down." Why? Because it's contrary to everything that you're saying right now, that she doesn't like this child or love this
Right,
child.
right. They
You
don't
know
fit
what
her
I'm saying?
narrative.
It
Hmm.
didn't fit your narrative, and I just thought that was kind of like messed up because for me, I think again, if you're in the space that you have the mental capacity to understand the importance of somebody actually outside of yourself being able to love your child and not ill treat your child,
Hmm.
why would you try to tarnish that person? Why would you try to, you know what I'm saying? There's only one way I could think that that would make sense that the person is doing that, and it has to be jealousy. Okay, has to be. Sorry, only way I could think about it. I want to read this comment from Snuggles. It says, "Well, isn't it the job of the man to cultivate the relationship between the two women so it can work? I never said it's supposed to be easy, but it's only natural, and isn't that a part of nature?" That's a um
Oh.
that's a that's a true fact. I mean, the man is the one that runs the entire situation, but look at, I don't know if you guys even know who these people are, but even if you look at there was a situation with Rashida and Kirk from Love and Hip Hop. I don't know if anybody knows Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. It was a couple years ago. Long story short, Rashida and Kirk have been married for I think close to 20 years, if not 20 years. And he stepped out and he had a child with a baby. He had a child with a woman. And you know, she stayed in that marriage with him, and she was definitely like, "Go get the baby, bring the baby to my house." She fed him, she didn't treat him bad, she treated him well, but she did not want to cultivate a relationship with this person who tried to infiltrate and disrespect and stuff over again. So I think it's still, when you look at that, it's still a respectful place. It's still a nice space. It's still the man in the center and he's having control over both sides. However, I could understand why she would not want to closely interact with, because it's not about, again, it's not about the two people being friends. That's the whole point of this conversation. It's not about that friendship. It's not about that kindred relationship. It's about the children. So if it's children involved, they need to be at the forefront. So it's not about, "Oh, well, how come my child can go to your house and I can't come even though I'm the mom?" You don't need to come. Let the child go and be with their siblings, and then they will go back to you. I think that there's a fine line between, again, having a effective co-parenting relationship or having an effective space between coexisting baby mothers, and again that line of friendship. I think it's two very different things. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's two very different things, and I think that the reason why it gets so misconstrued is because we've even seen it like in the media with certain people, like certain, I don't want to call anybody's name. Bruh. But certain people outwardly,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that this has occurred with, one being Will and Jada. I could call their name because and how the relationship they have with the first, but it was a very tumultuous space. But I think based off of the elements of their relationship as a whole, that's why her and the first child's mom can be so close.
Mm-hmm.
I think the way that the relationship is set up is the reason why the dynamic can be the way that it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for people who are just in like regular spaces, especially, don't even bring finances into it,
Mm.
because a lot of people are in a state of already stress, right? Like they're already stressed out about other things. They don't
Yeah.
need the stress of somebody else trying to infiltrate, trying to undermine whatever it is that they have going on. So that's my thoughts on that. I don't know if you have any different feelings, or if you want to add anything, please feel free.
Well, you would expect in that situation, since they both have ties to the man, that he would ultimately be cultivating and having the control. But again, we're dealing with two different personalities. And
Mhm.
as much as the man can do, how much control does he actually have?
Mhm.
He can't make either one of them women do what he want them to do. No more than he can make his child do what he want him
Hmm. I think he can.
to.
I think he
Mm,
can make them do what he wants them to do in the moment, but it doesn't
mm,
mean that it's gonna have a good outcome in the aftermath.
I
Because
know.
some people can do what you want. Like, as a leader, as a guide, I think that it's it's possible that you can make this person do what you want them to do, but in the long run, if they can always build like some kind of resentment against it. If that's not truly the guy that they wanted to be on, they can fake it. They can smile. They can say, "Yeah, for sure, I'll do whatever you want me to do." But in the
Mm-hmm.
long run, they might turn around with this, resentment, like, "Oh, well, I only did this because you, and if it wasn't for."
Exactly.
so So in the moment,
Exactly.
it might sound good, it might seem
Mhm.
cool, it might seem like a good situation, but I think it takes two level-headed um people. But and when I say level-headed, I mean regardless of the man, I think it takes women who are at a certain level of emotional maturity. Not just
Exactly.
maturity, because you can be mature and still be emotionally very immature. I think it takes a level of emotional maturity and emotional selflessness
Absolutely.
to be able to say, "Hey, girl, okay, are you going here? Okay, we're going here. They're all gonna be here. Boom." Does that mean that I need to go and sit down and have dinner with you? No.
Mm.
Does that mean that I need to go shopping with you? No. Does that mean that I want to be on the phone and be like, "Oh, girl, he getting on my nerves today"? No.
No.
No. It does not
Mm,
mean that, but it does mean that you're going to have a space of peace, for
mm.
the sake of, you know. And guys, I'm
Absolutely.
trying to get to these comments, but I don't know what's happening with my um mouse, because I um oh, okay. So I see this one from GotTech. It says a lot of times people don't think about the child when they make bad choices. Correct. You
They
know,
don't.
that's a main point. Again, baby having babies.
Exactly.
And then this comment from Pam said, as long as they aren't acting crazy, try to make it easy as you can for your kid. And
Hmm.
that's another thing. Okay, that's another thing. Trying to make it as easy as you can for your kid, but what might be easy for ooh, this is deep. But what might be easy for your kid might be hurtful for you.
Mm.
But can you put yourself on the back burner for what is better for your kid? A lot of people don't have the capability of doing that. A lot of people don't have the capability of doing that in a two-parent household.
Absolutely not. You're right. Hey,
So,
they don't.
so let's just start from there. So imagine separating the household and then into adding another person into the mix and
Mhm.
another baby mom in the mix. okay, which might come with all type of stuff, all type of
Mhm.
drama, trauma, whatever it is. So, again, it's that emotional maturity that I don't know. I feel like a lot of people lack. Just got to
They
be
do.
real.
They
I
do.
feel like a lot of people lack.
I agree.
um, yeah. I think maybe Kendra says, I think maybe the ex wants the baby father back, or either wants to at least have him sometimes. Just my opinion. And I think, okay, and let me go. I want to talk about this part.
Okay.
This is why I say you can't be friends with the person, right?
Mhm.
Because even reading this comment, it might seem like, oh, why would you want to do that? How could you possibly? You already know he's in a new relationship. You know he's moved on. You see my
So,
own kid. What would make you think that, you have the right to have these feelings? And it's because that's the person that person had a child with. That's natural feelings. We talk about this all the time. A lot of people who have a baby with somebody, they always say that it's harder for you to get better than your first baby daddy.
mhm.
So every person that comes in after, you're trying to kind of compare them to that first
Mhm.
person that gave you a child initially.
Yep.
So because of these natural feelings that can occur, and I have to say natural because it makes sense. I can't, act like it doesn't make sense. But because it makes so much sense, that's why it's important to not be quote unquote besties, best friends, or whatever. When you know that if the clock turned and if there was a situation where it was possible that you and that person, one plus one could equal two again, you would jump on that
Mhm.
bandwagon. There's no point to having a friendship with this other person. Again, amicable, yes. Peaceful, yes. Cool,
Mhm.
calm, collected, yes. Keep the families together. Maybe at, if you have to meet somewhere, cook out, like her son's birthday party. I don't think it should be a separate thing. If there's
Right.
her son's birthday party, she should welcome her there with him peacefully, amicably. But after that party, should they be on the phone talking about let's go to lunch, let's go get something to eat? No.
They don't even have to
No.
be next to each other.
That's like too close for comfort, I would say. I
Mhm.
like this comment from No Good. It says, "Mine have been associates." Okay, so this is somebody who have two baby moms. Okay,
Yep.
so this is a great comment. It says, "Mine have been associates, hung out and talked on the phone every day till it kind of played out, and they still cool." I don't know what to say about that. Maybe, but again, maybe they have a level of emotional maturity that they're
Mhm.
able to have done so, and keep the peace. And maybe it's because the relationship with the first person was actually completely done.
Mhm.
Nobody felt like, they should have stayed, or it should have been this, or maybe if it would have, nobody had ill thoughts. I think that might be one reason. Or maybe your wife, or whoever it is that you're with, or the two baby moms, maybe they just too close where they just like, talk too much crap.
Right, right.
Right? Maybe your wife is one of those type of people, because I know some women that like they would just say it. They don't care. They're like, girl, he get on my
Mhm.
nerve, but it's not like ill intent. Maybe
No,
it's that situation. I have no idea. But I
very
know
well.
that it's something that I don't deem as necessary. Sorry, what were you
Mhm.
gonna say?
Like we've been saying, it should be cordial like that though. I mean, because it should be about the children, not the mothers.
Mhm.
And it's, you both have two children. You have children from the same man, and if they're going to spend time with their father, they're gonna have to get to know each other at some point.
Right. Right,
You
right.
know? So
And mhm.
it should definitely be about the children. But one thing I've noticed when we hear stories like this, it's always about the women that are emotionally immature,
Mhm.
who have motives. The first one has not healed or let go of the baby daddy, and
Mhm.
she's upset and jealous because now he didn't have a baby with another woman. Now she got to compete with this woman for his attention.
Mhm.
Attention he's not giving you. At
Right.
most, he coming to see the child, get the child, pay whatever child support if they're in that situation. But that's about that because he His attention's on this woman that he's with, not you. You end it for a reason. It didn't go any
Mhm.
place on purpose. But
Mhm.
some
And
people have
some,
a hard time letting go.
yeah, and sometimes it's not peaceable because he do want her.
That too, exactly. He
Sometimes,
hasn't gotten over it himself.
right. Sometimes it's not peaceful because the new one is like, "Oh, hold up now. Why did you bring me in this situation that wasn't even, done, finished, wound up, and now I have a child too. And now I'm because sometimes we have to speak on both sides too. Sometimes it's not the new baby mother that's so peaceful. In the past, baby mother who's so aggressive and, oh, I just want my man back. And sometimes it's a complete opposite. Sometimes it's the insecurities of the new woman
Hmm.
versus, okay, well, I can never compete because he already had a child before me. He's already one. And I
Hmm.
don't know, again, based on this icon, I don't know the entire situation of these people. I have no idea, okay, of what the exact intricate pieces are of this puzzle, but we can just make
Hmm.
our own assumptions based off of the posts that we've seen on social media. Okay.
Absolutely.
I don't know if it's this situation that I'm about to say. I think it's the latter, but I'm going to say this part anyway because I know that we need to cover a multitude. Sometimes it's the new person getting in this situation and be like, "Oh no, that's not fair. I have to compete with, her, or how come when she calls, you got to just drop and answer the phone and just cater to whatever it is that she needs? How come she gets to and how come I and how come?" So I think it's definitely it can be either or, but again, if we are in a space where men say that women talk too much, women reveal too much, okay, you leave two women in a room or four women in a room, it's very capable that a lot of stuff that was not necessarily to be talked about, if they are there for too long, it's going to be talked about.
Absolutely.
What would be the sense of putting two people in a space
Hmm.
that share children with you? What would that do for you? Because if one person's mind is tainted, you know what that one person with the tainted mind is going to do? Try to taint the other mind.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because misery likes company. So whether it's new or the ex, it doesn't matter. Misery likes company. So that when those two people join back in together, have a conversation, chill, go to lunch, go to brunch, which we already know what all the drama that happens at brunch. Okay. When they go and partake in all of these activities, we can only anticipate it's going to make matters worse for you, the man.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Friendship is not necessary. Peace is necessary.
Hmm.
Friendship is not necessary. Sometimes peace and friendship are completely separate.
Absolutely.
I think more times than not, peace is not friendship.
It's
When it,
not.
when it comes to relationships, when it comes to work, coworkers,
Hmm.
okay, when it comes to, maybe your hairstylist, nail tech, whatever, clients, it's always better when it's two separate people. Once you bring friendship into it, that's when a lot of disrespect comes in. That's when a lot of, oh, who she thinks she talking to come in because people don't know their place.
Hmm.
That's when
Absolutely.
people that imaginary line drawn in the sand is not there because now we're friends. So now I have the space to disrespect you, treat you bad, talk to you however I want to, deal with you in whatever case that I want to deal with you because you're my friend. But
Hmm.
also because you're my friend, you done told me A, B, and C that I would have never known if we didn't embark on this friendship journey. And
Hmm.
then when I get mad at you, I wouldn't have anything to use against you.
Absolutely.
So friendship, no.
No, doesn't have to be friendship. But
Um,
another issue that arises in these type of situations is
mhm,
sometimes when we can talk about the baby daddy getting into a new relationship, he doesn't always vet the next woman properly.
mm,
And then you have situations where children are getting hurt, children are getting killed,
mm,
and vice versa with the baby mama as well.
right.
She bringing a new man into the equation, not properly vetted the man, and she leave the baby with the man, she go to work or she go out or something, she come back and something didn't happen to the child.
See, but this is and I like that you went this avenue, and shout out to you, Jay Takashi. Thank you always for showing so much support, because you know what's interesting. When it's two dads, right? When a dad has to be a stepfather in a situation, they don't
Hmm.
have these issues. You want to know why? Because they're not trying to be friends.
No, they're not.
They have no men have no interest. Like I feel like men are so funny to me because they don't have that like need or craving for another friend. Like
No.
men are easy they can easily say that's my coworker,
Hmm.
that's my barber, that's my this, that's my that. And with women it's like that's my homegirl, that's my friend, that's my bestie, that's my sis, that's my cousin. Easily getting hurt over and over again, over and over. And I'm speaking from experience, okay? Because when I was younger, I thought everybody was my friend. Okay. I didn't realize I was everybody's friend. These people were
Hmm.
not my friend. Okay.
Hmm.
But men are
Find
so
that out the
different.
hard way.
Men can like link up, hey, what's up? Whatever, whatever. All right, cool. Maybe laugh a joke. And when they walk away, that's it.
That's it.
I'm not gonna see you again until I have to see you again. Women like, oh yeah. And of course, I think we have to keep this in mind as well. And I still want to mention something else that you said, but we have to keep this in mind as well. Of course, as two women, you're going to have stuff in common
Hmm.
because obviously, if you're dealing with a certain type of man, that means that there's something in you that attracted him
Hmm.
and there's something in her that attracted him. So whatever that thing is, it might have some coinciding similarities.
Usually it is something similar.
So don't get right. So don't get fooled and don't get bamboozled by, oh my gosh, she's so funny. Of course she is. That's what he likes.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, we have so much in I can't believe that she likes this. Of course she does. You know what she also likes? The same man that you do.
Exactly.
I want to read this comment from Cedric Carson. It says, if two rivers were the mothers of my children, I could see them being good friends. Peace is peace. That's so funny. Yeah, well, because it would be me and me.
Mhm.
But you see how he didn't separate those two people?
I see it.
That's the only way there would be peace, right? If it's me and me. That's so funny. Um but another thing that you went to, the baby daddy situation. And it's so funny because again, when it's two men, men are not necessarily, and I think of it like this. I think when a man is speaking about um a situation of the lack thereof in a relationship, or what the other father is not doing, whatever, there's only two reasons why he's doing that. It might not be because of insecurities, but if it is, I feel like that's more of a man who is like happy wife, happy life kind of mindset.
Hmm.
But like two strong men that are in a situation, it's not going to be like a battle. It's not going to be like a, oh, this, I'm this. It's not really like that kind of like emotional situation trying to back up something or, maneuver something because he's so this. It's not about that. It's more really about the betterment of the kid. That's what I
Hmm.
think. What were you going
Yeah.
to say, Sean? I don't want you to forget.
No, I ain't gonna forget. No, you're absolutely right. That's how it usually is. I mean, men, we are not complex. We are very simple. If women would
Mhm.
take the time to understand that, and it won't take much time if you just actually sit and listen to what we have to say,
Mhm.
you understand very quickly that we are simple people. You know.
Right, because a man will be like a woman will be like, "Oh, what do you wanna eat?" And he's like, "I'll just take a sandwich." And she's like, "Are you sure? Do you want spaghetti? Do you want Chinese? Do you want lasagna? Do you want?" He said, "I want a sandwich." "Are you sure? Do you want chips? Do you want fries? Do you want?"
Well, I was gonna cook this and that. Well, you can cook it if you want to, but right now I want a sandwich.
"I
That's
want a
that's what I'm
sandwich." I just told you.
saying.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but continue.
No, 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 and for the most part, it's normally about the child, and you have your instances when it's about the woman, where it shouldn't be, but it happens.
Mhm.
Again, emotions, feelings, jealousy. It happens with
Mhm.
the men too, just as easily as it happens with the women. But when the men come into the situation, they're coming in seeing the woman's side anyway. So 9 times out of 10, they're going to look at it from her perspective and they're not really trying to deal with dude outside of handing the child out.
It's true.
You
It's
know,
true.
I mean, but you have your instances where the men actually are cool. Like we could take, since we are in the realm of celebrities, we could take Lenny Kravitz and
Oh yeah.
Jason Moore. You know,
Right.
their bromance.
Right.
Lenny being the first father, and then Jason being the second. They're very, very close, but you don't often see.
But I think that's because Lenny is Lenny. I think that's
That
because
too, yeah.
Lenny Kravitz is just Lenny Kravitz. I think that's the reason why
He's a laid back kind of
he
guy.
just don't he's not worried about it. Like, like I'm
Hmm.
already cool. She's a great person. Yeah, good for you. But I think that I mean Jason and Jason is not with her anymore.
No, that's the thing.
So it might be possible that it can be intimidating as well. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
When somebody is so cool because him and Lisa have a great relationship, and that can be intimidating as well. Sometimes, again, even just the camaraderie between hold on a second. That is a really good point. Let me read this comment. I want to go right back to that. Cedric Carson said, but in all seriousness, it's a tricky thing for baby moms having some sort of cohesion together, especially if it's sharing a man, nothing but blood sport. That's a really good point. Sharing.
Absolutely.
Because that's exactly what it is. Because some
Hmm.
women want to be your friend or want to be like the new person's friend or the new baby mom's friend. And I'm saying this because of the we're talking about two different baby moms, right? Let's not make it complicated and go into like 3, 4, because that's gonna make it really complicated. Let's just stick with two, right? I think that the situation is sometimes the person who's trying to initiate friendship, especially if it's not the new person, if it's the old person, I definitely think in their mindset, it is about sharing a man. And they're going in with the intentions like, oh, he's our this, he's our blah, blah, blah. Or because oh, you know how he is with us, they want to be, again, joined in, fused into the situation. And
Hmm.
this goes on to what you were just saying just now, Kashawn, like sometimes the relationship of what the child's mother and what the child's father have can also create a tumultuous relationship. So maybe these two women are fine, right? I'm just going to use this for an
Hmm.
example. Maybe these two women are completely fine, completely emotionally evolved, emotionally mature. They're thinking of the betterment of their children first. They have no issue. They're capable of having a conversation, going out to lunch, whatever it is, and they're still two completely cool, calm, collected people.
Hmm.
It's very interesting how that energy changes as soon as the man becomes a part of that conversation, start
Hmm.
laughing at somebody's jokes a little bit more, start
Hmm.
maybe, well, I know that I'm cool with her, but I didn't know you were supposed to be cool with her too.
Hmm.
I know I found her funny, but how come you finding her so funny? Because I'm the one that's trying to keep you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Sometimes it can get into some sticky water. So I think no matter how you slice it, it can be as cool as it can only, it can seem cool. But
Hmm.
unless everybody is amicably like, yeah, we're all together, it's not gonna work. Let's just be real.
Absolutely.
Let's just be real.
Absolutely.
It's not gonna work. And you bringing around this person that your spouse was already with, what signals are you sending to your spouse? You're
Exactly.
bringing this person back into his access. You're highlighting all the good parts of this person. You're smiling with this person. You're hanging out with this person. What signals are you then sending to him? It's like, okay, so what are we doing here? Are we talking? Or so when I go over there, it's cool then. Is that what you're saying? Because I don't know what you want me to do in this situation. It becomes very
Yeah,
sticky. I like this comment. It says, how about not be a baby mama in the first place? Well, I agree.
I do too.
I definitely agree. Definitely agree with this.
Hmm.
Um, And I think even especially, I mean, but we have okay. So I agree with this, but I also know the world that we live in, and this is not this comment makes sense, but is it realistic for everyone and everyone's lifestyle? No.
Absolutely
right?
not.
Which is we wouldn't be talking about this, and people wouldn't be talking about certain things in the comment section if it wasn't a realistic conversation that people actually go through.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, but I do believe that sometimes, okay, when you are in a relationship with somebody who has a roster, I'm not talking about one baby mama, I'm not even talking about two baby mothers.
No,
I'm
I already
talking
told
about
you.
when you already know he had a fourth baby mom and a fifth baby mom and a sixth baby mom.
Mm-hmm. And you
And
still decided, I want to be a part of this. I want to be the next baby mama.
okay, and when you do become the next baby mom, you need to just go ahead and go to the meetings that the baby
Mm-hmm.
mamas have together and just sit down and
Exactly.
shut up and take notes from everybody around you of what's going to be your future. Okay? Because they are going to let you know, they're going to put you on game and let you know
Absolutely.
how things go in this squad. I seen
Okay.
that on, and it's, I hate to say it, that I feel like I've seen all of these situations on like Love and Hip Hop. I hate that I say that. I mean, it's reality TV, but I hate
Well,
that that has to be a space, but it's represented because it's a reality for a lot of people, you know? And I remember when that happened with Young Jock, and it was like the seven baby moms. No, it was like the wife and then like the five baby moms.
mm-hmm.
And he had like his new girlfriend, and all the baby moms was like, oh no, we don't like her. And it's like, what are you gonna do when all the people who have control over when and how you're gonna see your children are putting this woman on the outs? It's like, again, why are they all so close? Why are they all best friends? Like,
Right, right.
it's so insane. Yes, I like this guy. It says, no, ladies, do not sign up to be a part of the roster.
Please
Ah.
don't. Please don't.
Oh my gosh, it's insane. And then I want to read this comment too. It's from Snuggles. It says, Snuggles again, thank you so much. It says, in your culture, how do people have relationships? What do you mean by this, Snuggles? I need a little more context of what you mean by that um
Yeah,
question.
culture is a very vague word.
Yeah.
Culture, culture is just the umbrella of multiple things, so you got to be more specific for us to actually understand the question.
Yeah, I really don't understand that question. And then Stephen Price says, men like that keep me from dating black women. He is creating families. I won't say it's even just a race thing though,
It's not.
because
It's not.
and I say that thoroughly knowing that it's not because of, you know, where I live. I live in a space where there's so many different cultures. Like people fly from all over the place to live where I live.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you see it. You see the Latin, you seen, listen, I've been a hairstylist for a long time, and predominantly in like, you know, well-off communities,
Mm-hmm.
right? And a lot of the women that I've seen women who come with, they're financially well off, whatever, and they are definitely like living a baby mama lifestyle, like their baby mom. So it's definitely not about like status. It's not about culture. Like people get into stuff and stuff does not work out all the time. You know, marriages definitely change as the years gone by. So there's a lot of people who get into situations that are not on firm ground. I mean, it's never really on firm ground. How can you ever really know whether you're married or not, whether you've been
Exactly.
together for 20 years or not? So, you know, it's definitely not like a race thing. I want to read this comment. So, okay, so Snuggle says, "You coming from the Caribbean, do men have multiple women, and if everyone okay with it, or do they just practice monogamy like the West?"
Mm.
Well, Snuggles, it's definitely not like the West. It's definitely not like the West. I mean, it's definitely not like the West, you know, and it definitely becomes a space of everybody knows what's going on, and everybody also knows their role and what they will do, won't do. And there's definitely not a lot of in certain, not I'm not saying it doesn't exist at all, but there's not a lot of disrespect in regards to these situations because everybody already knows their place. Okay. And it's also based off of the dominance of the man. You know, with our culture, the way how the dominance kind of is, it's kind of like even if you felt some type of way, you're gonna you're going to articulate that in a respectful tone because of
Mm,
just how our culture is. Like our men, and I'm speaking for all Caribbean men, and this goes for like Dominican, Puerto Rican, Jamaica. They're just more known to like not tolerate the foolishness. you know, they're not tolerating like the drama. So it's kind of like get with it or get lost. So the women are kind of like regulated in a space that they know how to communicate effectively. Again, if they already knew he had a child over there, they knew he had a child over there. It's going to be, there are situations that people do get out of pocket, like how it is here, but it's very, very different. Very, very different. Um, I want to use, I don't want to call anybody's name just in case my family is watching. Um, but I would even go to say, like, I've seen in my family where, a man could possibly have a baby outside and bring the baby to the home, and the wife is raising that baby like it's her own. So that should tell you how different it is. It's very different. It's a lot less ego. It's more of duty and responsibility. Snuggle said, please go deeper and teach us how does that work in your country if you don't mind, please. Again, it's based solely on the dominance of the man. It's based solely on the dominance of the man. He runs his ship and everybody knows it.
something lacking here in the West.
Yeah, it's not happy wife and happy life over there. It's really not. And I'm not going to say like I feel like it's definitely now, like even when we look at places like Africa, England, they're all kind of like forming into one because of social media, TV, internet. They
Mm,
kind of are all seeing how other people live and kind of like, taking those kind of those situations and bring them on their own, but it's not like that. Like they just have like a no nonsense aura. It's not even like has to be said. It's not even like certain things that they do, but it's just that the way that they move, that like that you can't really say anything, but also the women are very understanding, and this is very true. The women are very understanding of male nature
mm,
more, I think, in foreign countries.
they are. I can agree with that.
They know how a man moves. They know that if a man sees a hot girl, he's gonna look at her and see that she's hot. So they know that it's important for them to upkeep themselves, make sure they look good, make sure that they're confident, and they're not gonna stress every little thing because they know
Mm,
that the minute that they stress him out, he's gonna say, "Okay, I don't want to deal with you anymore because you're bringing me too much stress." So they kind of stay on point, like stay on their P's and their Q's. You know what I'm saying? What were you gonna
mm.
say, Krishan? I saw you were gonna say something.
Well, just kind of piggybacking off what you said, because I agree wholeheartedly that it is that different in the different countries. And the fact that the men are more domineering and the women are understanding says a lot.
Mm-hmm.
This the complete opposite here with us.
It is.
You know, some women have understanding, some don't. Some men can be domineering, some aren't. It's just completely flip flop. We're missing a lot of that there because we're not raised with that. Some of us are raised in single mother homes, some of us are
Mm-hmm.
raised in father homes. So some of us ain't even raised with parents, we're raised with grandparents, or we in and out the foster system.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
so
want to
we're
read this.
missing that. But
Missing certain things. I want to read this. It says, "Do you think American women where you are can deal with men from your culture as they are at this moment, or would they have a punishment for them?" It's not even punishment though. It's not even punishment. Like it's not even about that. It's more about um they don't tolerate certain things. They just don't. Like they just it is not like a second guessing thing. Like they're very vocal about everything that they're about, but it's also just about the way that the cultures are set up. And again, I think it's because it's sad to say, but the more privileged that people are, the more that the women feel like that they don't need men.
Mhm.
The way that the society caters to women here, it's
Oh,
the reason why women have the fuel to talk down to men, act like they don't need men,
mhm.
disrespect men because they're always going to have somebody to come to their aid in their defense regardless of. And I feel like in other spaces, that you need like a certain superiority. That you need a certain dominance established. That it's important for like your well-being, for your home, for your space. You know what I'm saying? So you have a different mentality as to how you're going to treat your man, but also the men around you. So
Absolutely.
And a lot of I've seen people come out that are not even from America. I've seen people who come out who are Caribbean who say, "Oh, I would never be with a Jamaican man." You know, which is foolishness to me because I think everyone says that. I feel like every culture says it about its own culture. I've heard Dominicans say, "I would never be with a Dominican man." Puerto Ricans say, "I would never be with a Puerto Rican man." You know, but I
It's,
think it's very well known if you just listen to our music that
mhm,
our men love women and are not shy to say that. You know what
mhm.
I'm saying? So if you're gonna be a certain way or if you're gonna disrespect me, I would definitely find another one. So I think it's the punishment or the threat is more of that he will leave you and you won't have access to this amazing person more than it's like, oh, I have to do something to make you this or to make you that. I think it's different. What were you? I know you were going to say something else.
Well, you hit the head. You hit the head on the nail. Exactly.
Yeah, it's different. It is different. It's very different, And I think I'll maybe have to touch on that in another situation or another conversation, but for me I love when a man is in his true nature.
Hmm.
I don't want a man to follow me. I don't want a man to follow what I say. I don't want a man to say, "Oh, well, River, you said this. Okay, let's do this." I don't want that. I love when a man is in his true nature because him being not being swayed by the things that I say or the things that I do to me reflects a very good leader. You're not outweighed or swayed by the opinions of the people around you. You're actually able to make your own sound decisions, regardless of if it's going to even make me upset or not. That's the best decision. That's the decision that's being made. I want to read this comment from Gerard. It says, Riva, this is a very uniquely insightful topic that we low key see every day, but no one is addressing it on mainstream. And here on social, um, oh, no one is addressing it on mainstream and here on social. So kudos to you for coming up with this. Thank you so much for saying that. And it is true. I think this is something that we kind of like scurry around,
Yeah.
like kind of
Got
hop
a quick
around the topic.
yeah.
Like you want to say like, hey, uh I see that this is a nice co-parenting relationship. This is so mature. And then it's like, but why are they going out to eat? It might seem like, oh, it's a disruptive behavior. It might seem like, oh, why wouldn't they should be friends? Like, isn't that what River's gonna say? River's a very peaceful person. Shouldn't they be friends? No, because there's a lot of detriment that can come along with that situation. Snuggles
Absolutely.
again with the questions. Snuggle said, have you ever given your man advice that he never followed? Sure. Yep. It might not be something that's so, detrimental to our liberty, but for hell yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Sure did. It's and I more times than not, and I have to definitely say more times than not, I will look and say, I'm glad that you didn't do it this way because I didn't see what you saw in that situation. That's what I'm saying. Like you have to if your man is your leader, you have to be able to trust him at all times. So even trusting when he doesn't do everything your way, and I think women have it twisted. They think, oh, when you're doing what I want you to do, sure. But whenever it's the person that's like, oh no, I don't want to do what you want to do. Oh no, I'm the woman. What about my feelings? My this? No, sometimes your man knows you're tripping. You need to
Hmm.
go sit down somewhere. Gather your thoughts because I've studied your patterns enough to know that you're just being very emotional right
Hmm.
now. So go over there and sit down. I'm not listening to what you're saying. I'm not internalizing this. I
Hmm.
know when to listen to what you're saying and I know when to kind of, tune you out. Because
Hmm.
at the end of the day, I'm Riva. I'm more of a logical thinker. I am emotional, but I don't lead with my emotions, especially when it comes to matters of conversation and stuff like that, but I'm still a woman, dealing with a man. So there's still going to be rifts sometimes where he got to be like, okay, now, mm-mm. You're, yeah. That's just biological. Okay. No disrespect, but that's just biological.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
It
But I
absolutely.
didn't, I want to read this really quick. I didn't want to stay on this for too long. I actually had the intention to come on and stay on for about an hour. So we're going a little bit over than I thought I would even go because I wanted to just come on, have this conversation, and then leave it where it is.
Hmm.
Just because honestly, I could have made a video about this. Okay, I definitely could have just made a video and uploaded it, but I so wholeheartedly wanted to hear you guys' opinions live, and also if anybody wanted to come on, I'm so glad that you did, Krishan, that we can actually just have the dialogue briefly. I
Mm,
didn't want to just leave it there it goes and have to catch up on the comments. I wanted to
right.
talk to you guys. Stephen Price says in Africa there are tribes who share their wife with foreigners. The husband sleeps in the next room or outside. You can look this up. Don't know anything about this. Okay.
It's my first of hearing that.
Steven said this is true. I don't know if this is true. Okay. Snuggle said, I applaud your honesty. You do not hear much people be honest about them being wrong when their men give them advice. You almost make me want to hit the link and come up and have a conversation. Come on up,
Come on
Snuggles.
up, man. Come on and join us.
You know how long I've been waiting for you to come up, Snuggles? Guys,
Hey,
right now we're going to not listen to anything that Snuggles says to force Snuggles to come up here and have this conversation.
didn't he
That's
say
what we're gonna do.
didn't he say in the last live last week that this week he was gonna come up?
Every time Snuggles says that he's coming up and he doesn't come up. He doesn't come up every time. He's like, "This is the time." Oh,
Uh-huh.
I love this conversation. What's the link? It never comes up.
It never
But
comes up.
but no, it's true. I have to be real with you guys. Okay, I'm not gonna come up here and sell you some facade that's not true. I think when I first came on and when I first started my channel, I didn't leave any information about my life. I just gave you guys my opinion and came off. But the more live streams that I done, the more that we become like more open with each other, the more you guys find out more about me, the more that we have more conversations. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's kind of what changes the situation. But in me being honest, if I can look at a video when I do my reactions and give you guys my honest, full opinions, full thought process logically, what would be different about my own life? So I can know when I'm tripping. Okay.
Mm.
I can know when I say, no, 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 no. I know I was tripping. Or I can know when there's times that maybe I'm leading in a way where it's my emotions or how I feel at the moment because we all have feelings. Come on, we all have feelings. And this is why I say that you guys will see more. I don't want to talk too much because I have a lot in store for you guys, and there's gonna be a lot that's gonna unfold that you guys will really see like what I'm talking about when I'm talking about it. Um, somebody said, Gerard said, are you tempted to go on a nationwide tour to convey your message to truly enlighten women? Definitely not opposed to that. Definitely not opposed to that. And it's funny because it's something that I spoke about a long time ago before my channel, before any of this, because I'm so used to having these conversations. So definitely not opposed to that. Definitely not. I would have to test the waters maybe where I am first and then like venture off, but definitely would love to do that. I think it would be really good. And edifying, that's my favorite word because that's the kind of content that I like. I like stuff that's edifying, fulfilling, you know, um, moving everybody forward just a little bit because we're all one. We're all
Absolutely.
connected. So when one person elevates, we all elevate in some kind of way. So I definitely am not opposed to doing that at all. At all. I see somebody. Vaughn says, "Hey, Riva. Hey, how are you, Vaughn? Nice to see you. Happy Monday, everybody." Yeah, Kendrell's like, "Look, Snuggles and stop commenting." Snuggles said, "No, she trapped me. She trapped me." Um. Yeah, but I definitely love you guys. I wanted to just like I said, come on and have a short snippet conversation. I know once Edward sees this, he's gonna be like, "What?" And I
Hmm.
know the time frame was a little off, but just like everybody has a case of the Mondays, I low key do as well. Okay, I low key have a case of the Mondays as well. And Riva, when she don't eat, she can't stay too long. Okay.
Understandable.
But I know we can definitely venture off into more of a conversation, but I definitely wanted to just leave it right here. Cause Sean, I'm so glad. I'm gonna be honest, I'm really glad that you got to come up and have this conversation by yourself. Okay. And that's no shade to anybody else, but I feel like cause Sean has always played a back seat whenever we have these conversations. He will let everybody talk first even if he's been on the panel first for the long time, he will literally like just stay silent and not say anything at all and just let everybody continue and talk. And then we get to you at the last and we're like, hold on, Krishan, it's been 5 hours. Hurry up. So I'm glad that you got to share this space. And I have something that I have a lot of things working on for you guys. So when you guys don't see me dropping the reaction videos as frequent, which is gonna change this week. I done got a lot of messages in my DMs. Riva, where are the reactions? This. Okay, I promise I got you. Okay. And I don't want to come and just bring you guys stuff that I don't feel connected to, or I don't feel is going to be beautiful enough or interesting enough for my viewer. I just cannot. Like, I can't do it just for the sake of doing it. So when I'm connected to things, that's when you guys are going to get the best out of me. That's the stuff that I want to release for you guys. But I'm working on a lot of different things that are slowly, I'm going to just pull them out of the hat and be like, surprise. So I'm working on different things for you guys, but the reaction videos are coming full throttle. Okay. So I don't need another DM. I don't need another email. Okay. I hear you. I hear you. I promise you they are coming. And somebody said something else. She said no shade. Why throwing shade? I'm not throwing shade, Snuggles. Okay, I'm not throwing shade. I'm just saying, and everybody knows it. Everybody knows that you will come
You
on.
know,
Yes.
I have something to say to Mr. Snuggles.
Say it.
You do a lot of tough talk in the chat, but you seem too afraid to join the stream chat with us. Why
Why?
is that? Why
Why
is
is
that?
that?
It's a safe space. Ain't nobody gonna bite your head off. We're gonna
Mm-mm.
listen, and if we don't agree, we're gonna let you know that we don't agree. But it's gonna be in a respectful manner. We're not gonna.
No, Snuggles is the only person that I would tell, like, you can come and you do not have to turn your camera on. I'm just gonna be honest. Snuggles is like the only person. And I saw somebody say something about me being an activist. I want to say thank you to that too. I just listen. He said, Snuggle said what had happened was I just really just come and give my honest, full, wholehearted perspective, my opinions, my thought process. Um, and I know that it can help people, assist people. If you guys miss motivational meditation yesterday, you miss a great conversation. I thoroughly encourage you guys to go watch that video from yesterday. It's a stream that I announced last Tuesday, if you guys remember, that I said I was going to be doing every single Sunday. I don't know the time, probably like around the morning time or whatever. But it was so edifying for me as well as the people who were a part of the chat and a part of the conversation. It's all love over here. Um, and I want to say that I really appreciate you guys for sticking with me and being ever so supportive of Riva TV. You don't know how much it means to come on, turn your camera on, have a conversation, and people that vibrate at the same frequency just kind of like, you summon them to yourself and they just stay with you and support you. It means a lot to me, especially because um it takes a lot to be able to do so. And I want to say that I appreciate guys for sticking with me, especially because certain things on my channel have changed too much. I had a lot of people saying, please do more live streams. I did more live streams. Please, we want more reactions. I'm like, okay, more reactions. And in me trying to find my balance, you guys have always stood by me and supported whatever it is that I'm bringing. So I always want to say that I am truly grateful for that, very, very supportive of you guys as well. And I have a lot of things that I'm working on in different aspects. And one thing that I want to talk about is getting you guys on and what I can offer you guys in a different way space. I want to allow more people to come on and share their conversations.
Mhm.
I know that I come with my conversations on Monday nights, so we have like motivational Mondays, we have our Monday night conversations that is something I've seen or whatever. But I want to also share a space with you guys,
Mhm.
right, with my viewers who are always so supportive of me. Maybe you guys have something that you're like, oh, I wish River would talk about this. Maybe you should talk about it. So
Yeah.
I want to create a space that, like, Kashawn, Kashawn's a little different. Kashawn had my contact. Kashawn could just be like, hey, River, tonight I want to talk about this, but I want to say that in front of everyone. I want everyone to have that where you feel like, oh, Kendrell is like, hey, River, I think we should talk about this, or I want to talk about this. And I let you come and we share and we have the conversation with you. and allow you that space to talk with the other people and get other people's perspective, other people's views on that conversation. I really, really want to do that with my subscribers. I'm just trying to figure out a way of how to maneuver it so it doesn't get filtered out with people who just want to be a part of a conversation but are not really a part of the tribe. So I'm
Hmm.
trying to figure out a way to be able to do that effectively. But I definitely want to do that. EP, I can't believe I see your face here. Okay, because I have not seen you in a long time. I always see you after the stream is done. So I want to say thank you for joining. And he says, is it because hardships require more emotional maturity? That is exactly why. Okay.
So
That is
absolutely.
100,000,000,000%. And a lot of people do
Mhm.
not have emotional maturity. Gerard said, my second question is, what creative way can you draw women in? I want to say something too. And I guess because we stopped the conversation short because Sean, that we're venturing off with other people having other things that they kind of want to ask me that they haven't got the chance to. Maybe I need to do this where it's just ask River whatever you want. I gotta be careful. Sometimes y'all, I did that. I used to do that on my Instagram and say ask me anything, and people was really asking me anything. I'm like, okay, that's not what I meant. But a lot of times I know that you might not see a lot of women a part of the actual conversations here. I know that you might not see a lot of people join the screen because you can't necessarily see the person that's watching, right? Like the viewer.
Absolutely.
You might not see a lot of women you see some women in the chat, you might not see some women come up, but let me tell you something. A lot of women are in my DMs. And when I say a lot of women, I don't mean just like women, like whatever kind of, no, I mean like some people who are influencers
Hmm.
on social media. I mean, people who are YouTubers, like a lot of different women that you would consider even modern women saying, hey, like more times than not, I kid you not, this is the message. Hey, I saw my boyfriend watching your channel and then I started watching it and you changed my mind or my perspective on a lot of different things. So for me, it's not about just having the women just come up, having the women join. Some women don't, feel the courage to be able to do so, and I'm completely okay with that because I know that they're listening. So I don't know if I need to try to draw anyone. I think it's just me being my authentic self is going to magnetize the people who need to hear it. And whether other people know that those women see it or hear it, it doesn't even bother me because as long as they are getting the message, that's what matters to me the most. Kendra said that email I was going to send you was about the female I'm talking to, but I don't know if I will actually send you one. LOL, I don't want to bother you with me. I don't want to bother you with my girl troubles. Kendra, you support me so much. Send the email, okay? Send the email. Um, and I saw something else. Somebody else had said something. I don't know, guys. Sometimes I get. We were gonna end this, okay? We were gonna end this. So, so I'm kind of all over the place, okay? I'm kind of all over the place. I see.
Okay.
Oh, Hustler just came on, and I think we lost him. I don't know if Hustler was gonna add to the context of the conversation. But I kind of just got you know, lost in the sauce. But again, it's just me sharing my authentic opinions, feelings, thoughts, my actual experiences, and just being myself, definitely being myself. And again, the reason why I'm so unaffected by if I have women that come up on the panel in the chat or whatever is because I really have these conversations in real life and I've been doing this for years as a hairstylist. I've had women who are way older than me, married for a long time, involved in different situations. As a hairstylist, you hear everything, see everything. And people have always wanted to know my feelings, my thoughts, and my opinions. And I've always given my true, honest feelings and not something that's just going to sound good or make me a part of like, girl code or whatever the case is. Hustler, hello, how are you? Are you there?
Yo, Hustler.
Uh-oh.
Maybe he's muted.
Hustler, are you there? Okay, I'm gonna have to drop you down and just try to join back in. For some reason, your sound is not working. Um, yeah, yes. EP says it's been my experience that the more self-actualized men are respected more in the Caribbean and African. It's true. There's a dominance that comes with that. Like, and this is why I think it's so funny when people ask me that stuff because I know like there's so many like people have so many stigmas against like men from other places. I've heard it all
Mhm.
the time. Again, I hear it all the time. Like some people are like, oh no, African men, no, they're gonna try to make you be, their third, fourth, fifth wife, or
They
you
talk you.
know, yeah, Jamaican men, no, like, yeah, they know exactly what to say and they gonna break your heart. There's always these things, but and there is a difference in experience, and I think that that's something that we need to touch on maybe in a different conversation. I can touch on it briefly now, but there
Mhm.
is a difference in where you're from affecting the way that you maneuver in society. There is
Mhm.
a broad difference, although we're all black people, right? And when I say that, I don't mean just Jamaicans, Haitians. No, I mean like Dominican, Puerto Rican, like we're
Mhm.
all of us are black people. Okay, let's not
Mhm.
forget it's all about where the boat went and dropped off people and kept it pushing. Okay, we all black people, but based off of where we grew up, based off of our cultures, it definitely changes the way that we deal with relationships. Definitely changes that. It definitely affects the way that you view the people around you as well.
Mhm.
I grew up in a household where, being that my family is from Jamaica, when all the older men in my family come around, all the women get in line. Do you want something to drink? You want something to eat? Here's your food first. Here's this, like it wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna share the kids' food first. No. It was the kids' table over here. We have one aunt taking care of that, but we have, the wife of the man or the matriarch of the family is sharing for the men first. And that's just showing the esteem and
Mhm.
respect for our men. Here it's very different. Culturally here it's very different. Maybe in certain spaces you will see that, but more times than not it's more of like the food on the stove, he can get it himself cuz
Mhm.
culturally they're just not used to doing that.
Yeah.
Catering in that kind of way. They cater to their children here more times than not, more than to the man. So it is different. It is very very different. Um Gerard said, "Yes, my initial question was going forward, would you be considered a public speaker or a low-key activist for transformation of the modern woman and bringing anti-mainstream consciousness?" Woo.
Ooh.
Woo, woo.
Ooh.
Ringing bells in here.
Said a mouthful.
Wow. Well, thank you. First of all, well, thank you. Um and I guess so. I guess so. I mean, thanks, and I think that's a big responsibility, but is this my thought process when I have these conversations? It is. To be honest, it is, and I want to touch on something that has nothing to do with anything that we're talking about, but because we're here and it looks like we're just having a conversation, you guys are just hanging out with me. I'm going to touch on this briefly and then we're going to go.
Okay.
Even when it comes to the aspect of like the Grammys, right? I don't know if you guys know,
Mhm.
but the person who won the best reggae album Grammy were it was a group of people who were from Virginia who were not Jamaican, and all the other nominees were Jamaican.
What?
And I caught myself like on social media, like what I would call, what we call in Jamaica, bunning the fire. I'm like, bunning the fire. I'm like, no, these people are from Jamaica, and how could you? And da 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 da. So, um, I think I do. I think in different aspects. I know you're like, what? Please don't get me started. Please don't get me started. Trust me, you don't want this conversation. But um, I'm gonna get very intense. But the thing is that I think in all aspects of my growth, emotionally, spiritually, and in my maturity, I've always seen things in a certain light. And so when it comes to anti-mainstream consciousness, I definitely have my own opinions and views, and I think I share different aspects of that in different ways.
You do.
So that's always in the thought process, because I always say, like, our kids, and I'm not talking about my kids. I don't have kids. I don't, have children, but I'm saying, when I say our kids, I mean your kids, Kashawn, that you're gonna have, Kendrell kids that he's gonna have, Gerard's kids, EP's kids, everybody's kids. I look at everybody's children as my own, and I just think about the life that they're going to have, when it's their turn to be adults.
Mm-hmm.
If we're not standing in the gap now, if we're not standing up now and having conversations and straightening things up and shining a light so that these children can see, like, no, what you see with mainstream and what you see of the things that they're portraying and what you see, that it is that they are pushing, you do not have to follow those guidelines. There is other ways. There's aspects of tradition that really work.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that are really, powerful in tradition, and that's one thing that I have to say, that as much as technology and the internet and the fact that we can just hop online and see people in Africa right now, see people in Jamaica right now, Australia, wherever, I
Mm-hmm.
love it, but at the same time, that's one of the things I don't like, because everybody is kind of morphing and a lot of culture is fading away. I'm very big on culture. Like, I love when people are who they are authentically, unfiltered, uncolonized. Okay. Not
Mm-hmm.
trying to be like the West. I love when people are who they are, That's the only thing I don't like about it. So I'm always gonna stand up for that.
Mm-hmm.
Just based off of that comment, I just wanted to say I'm always going to stand up for truth, rights, and righteousness. Okay? And what righteousness means, that's for another conversation. That's for another conversation. Kashawn, you have anything that you want to say?
Yeah, I do. Because of your willingness, it draws people like me and people that are in the chat listening every Monday or every time you throw a live out there, because of the nature you have created with this platform.
Mm,
It is very much needed. This is the time to have these conversations that nobody else is willing to have because they got money and this many people have subscribed, this many people are doing this. That's what they're focused on when they should be focused on the things you're focused on. You're focused on the healing, the love, and the living aspect that we're losing in translation with being so tied with electronics and social media and the mainstream media.
right.
Where our people are losing sight of the important things, and your platform are bringing those important things that have been lost to the forefront.
Thank you.
I'm definitely grateful for this platform.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that, Kashawn. And I say thank you especially to you, because you don't, not that you don't have to say it, but you're a part of it, like, so much that sometimes when people come around so much, they can kind of get used to a thing and kind of
Mm-hmm.
just be like, oh, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I really appreciate that. Snuggle said, I would like to see you have a one-on-one with Muta Baruka. Listen, I love Muta Baruka. I call him my father-in-law. That's what I call him. Okay, Mutabaruka, Sadhguru. If you don't know who those two people are, check them out. Okay, for a deeper conversation, more intense conversation, you have to be ready for whatever it is that Muta's gonna say, because he does not hold any punches. But for you to even say that to me, Snuggles, without even knowing who I am, and say something like that, you have no idea that shows that I'm really being very transparent on that platform for you to align me with somebody with the like thereof, you know? And I also want to say it's coming. Trust me. I have no doubt in my mind that a Mutabaruka conversation, a Sadhguru conversation is coming. It might not necessarily be right here on River TV, but trust me when I say those conversations are for sure to come. For sure, for sure. Love that man so much. And I want to say again, thank you guys so much for always tuning in, supporting, being a part of, and I love when you guys can come and be a part of the conversation, even if we're not even talking about something that's so dramatic and off the wall, and I have to put this exaggerated uh title to draw you guys in, like, like, I do whatever I'm doing intently on purpose. And when I'm doing it, it's because I know the people I'm trying to bring around. You know, I'm not trying to stand on a soapbox and draw a crowd. Like, that's not what I'm doing. I'm definitely trying to, you know, conjure in certain people when I have certain conversations. Same thing I say about Motivation on Monday. Don't think I'm sitting down counting who's watching and who's not. No. I come on here and I'm having a transparent conversation. And for those who are meant to hear it, they will. So again, thank you guys so much for joining. Kashawn, thank you for coming up and being a part of this conversation. This was needed. You needed your space. Okay.
I
You needed
did. I believe I did. I tend to be a listener and an observant person.
Mm-hmm.
That, so it's very easy for me to get quiet and fall back and just hear everything that's going on. So
Exactly.
I'm grateful for this time as well. I don't normally get this amount of time.
I know exactly. You normally don't, for real. And again, I'm working on trying to figure out how I'm going to figure out the situations or what I'm going to do so I can have that thing in place where people do, whether it's one night or whatever, come on and bring their own topic, and I give you the highlight and allow you, like you or whoever the caller is, to just shine, and then let them talk, you know, say what they have to say, and then we bring on the other people. Snuggle said, if you really want to understand what she was talking about, certain type of men that are from the Caribbean, when it comes to being male, they would want to listen to Mutabaruka and watch him in action. I can't say enough. Okay. Can't say enough. And why do I call him my father-in-law? You guys will figure out soon enough. Okay. You guys will figure out why I call him that instead of calling him my father. But thank you guys again so much for watching. I love you guys so very, very much. And I will see you guys for sure in the next video. It might not be the next live stream. It might be the next reaction video, but we will have to wait and see. Okay. And I will see you guys then. Thank you so much. Enjoy your week. Don't work too hard. Okay. It's Monday. You already have one day down. Whether you have 4 more days to go, 5 more days to go, whatever it is, don't stress it. Okay. Just look at it. Take every day with stride. Okay. Stress is not healthy. So just take it easy. Keep it cool. Keep it calm. Keep it collected. Make sure that whenever you come from work, you have something that you can do to ease your mind and take the stress out. Don't take your work home with you. Leave that work at the door. When you clock out, go home, spend some time with whoever you got at home with you, watch some TV, whatever it is that you have to do to relax. Make sure that you do that. Okay. Love you guys. Mwah. And I will see you in the next video. I mean it from my heart. Bless.
You can step into my world, see the way I see it, no matter near or far. It is a sight worth seeing. Step into my world, see the way I see it.